Hey guys, welcome back to the Thisissoul Skate Shop YouTube channel. We're gonna do another review, this time about the Rollerblade Blank skate. We're gonna run through the history of the brand Rollerblade, the history of the Blank skate, run through the different models that are on the market and what sets them apart. The ways to how you can improve this skate and my honest opinion, of course, about it. So sit back and relax and watch a nice little review. We are here, of course, right now in the Thisissoul skate shop, and you see we have a lot of skates. So if you ever want to try some skates like the Rollerblade Blank or one of the others, then come to our shop, because the best way to know if a skate is right for you is to have it on your feet. We're in Amsterdam, right next to the Vondelpark, so you can skate here as well. And hope to see you soon. Rollerblade started in the early 80s, and they actually started together with Roaches. So Roaches was the factory, and Rollerblade was the brand. And that's why the skates from the 80s from Rollerblade are the same skates that Roaches made in the 90s. Because back in the 90s, Rollerblade took over production themselves, and Roaches was left with an empty factory. So they started producing the Rollerblade skates in the Roaches brand. So Roaches and Rollerblade kind of like have a shared history. And in 1987, they made the first skate with a buckle. And the buckle makes that the skate is stiff in the sideways flex, and that means that it's good to have, like, for the first time, real control over what you're doing. And that's when freestyle inline skating, urban inline skating, and aggressive inline skating all emerged. So that's how we ended up here with a complete aggressive skate. And the first Rollerblade aggressive skate was in 1994. It was the Tarmac CE. It was also the first pro skate from Chris Edwards. And they kind of like used that classic skate. It was also like the Roaches mold as the blueprint for their Derrick skate. And the Derrick skate is basically a Roaches skate but beefed up. So it's a lot thicker, has like all these reinforcement everywhere. It just looks like a Roaches on steroids a little bit. But it's really a skate of that era. It was in 1997. So we still have those as plant pots on the outside of the shop. You can use old skates as a pot, so it's nice advice maybe if you have some old skates yourselves. So it's a very classical skate, and they made it until 2001. It was called the Swindler back then. And back then they morphed into the TRS era, so it was kind of like a soft boot aggressive skate. And that changed in name to the New Jack. So the New Jack slowed down in popularity. Like when the TRS started, it was super popular. Alex Brosco, Frankie Morales, everybody was skating it. And then at the end of the New Jack era, nobody was using it anymore. So they kind of like discontinued it. It was only a couple of years ago. And in 2021, they came out with the Blank skate. The Blank skate was a total re-adaptation of the Solo Fusion skate. And the Solo Fusion skate was first a recreational skate when it came out, and it also was an aggressive skate when it came out. And here you can see the Rollerblade Fusion. This one came out in 2009. It was a recreational skate, and this is exactly the same boot as the current Blank skate. It just has a different name, and they filled up the holes a little bit, so they changed a few aesthetic minor things, but in general, it's the same skate. You can see by the decals and the graphics on it that it's really 2009. It also came out as an aggressive skate. What is really nice about the skate is that the frame is mounted directly to the boot, but all these skates back then in this 2009 era had a Velcro strap. So you can see that here in this Sven Boekhorst pro skate. One of the Dutch great skaters had a Rollerblade Solo pro skate, and also this one has a Velcro here. And in my opinion, this Velcro never really worked really well, because as I already said, you need kind of like a buckle to make a skate nice and stiff. And also you can never pull on it hard enough to close a skate really nice. I just generally think that buckles work better. And also one of the things that always happens with these Velcro strap is that this turns like this, always messes things up. So they might work well when you first buy it, but then after a while, it wears down a little bit. So that's why on this skate I changed the cuff. More about the cuff later. So that was the solo and fusion era that lasted until 2014. So for about 7 years they didn't have like a good hard boot aggressive skate on the market until the Blank came. All right, so that's a little bit of the history. So now you know where it came from. There's all these previous editions, but the nice thing is about it that it's intercompatible. So they really used the old Solo Fusion shell as a basis. They filled up the holes. They changed some minor things. And you can see here, like this thing on the nose is exactly the same, for example. And also here, the thing in the back, you can see this. It's exactly the same lines, but this one has no holes and this one does have holes. Not having holes also makes it a little bit stiffer. You can make maybe an argument about that it's less ventilated if there's less holes, but I don't really care about ventilation in my skate. But mostly I think it's aesthetically a lot more pleasing like this. It's really clean. So they went from something that's graphically like all over the place to something that has almost no graphics at all and is really clean. And I really think that they did a good job with that. Right now on the market is the Sean Keen Pro Skate, and they made a Blank Team Skate. The Team Skate is kind of like in a purple, grayish, bluish color. And the Sean Keen Skate is all black. They're gonna be a new skate soon. It's gonna be a white one. I can't say anything officially about it, so don't tell anybody that I said this. And there will be new versions. Like I think probably every year or every 2 years they're gonna release a new colorway. It's gonna be either Pro Skate or not. So that's for if you watch this video in 4 years, there's gonna be probably 1 or 2 extra models out on the market. And for now, they didn't really change anything except for the colors in these skates, except for the frame, because this is a flat frame, but it still has some possibility for wheel bite. And there's going to be a new version for that is a little bit more protective around the wheels. Now we're going to run through all the little details of the skate that sets it apart from different models, and I'm going to tell my honest opinion about all these little aspects like the cuff and the liner and the fit and everything. So let's start with the fit. I think the fit is a little bit wide. It's pretty normal fit. So if you have a normal foot, you'll be fine in the skate. But it's on the wider end of a normal fit, okay? So that means that for almost everybody, it will work really well. I don't know anybody who tried this skate and had like a specific pressure point or, unless you, I mean, if the problem is if you always have a pressure point somewhere, then you're gonna have it here as well. But it's not gonna be the fault of the skate. So there's nothing in the skate that's badly designed. It's a really good liner, it's a really good fit. That's why also they kept the same fit for this shell as they had in the previous shell, because the fit was just good. The skate comes in dual sizing, and actually all hard boot skates come in dual sizing. It's just not always advertised as being such. What all brands do is they put more liners in the same shell, and in reality it's best to just fill up a shell completely with the liner, so that the liner like stretches out all the way to the front of the skate. There's no point in ever putting a smaller liner in a shell than that's maximally possible in a shell. Rollerblade now realizes that, so since the Rollerblade Blank, they started using dual sizing, and one way they kind of like fixed the different sizes problem is to give a free extra insole that you can put underneath your liner and to have a little bit more pressure. So if you have a smaller foot, then you can compromise a little bit with that insole. Let's talk about the flex. So there's forward flex and sideways flex. I already said that because this is also a recreational skate with big wheels, they made it pretty stiff for an aggressive skate. So some aggressive skates are really flimsy, they're really easy to put on their side. And this one is pretty stiff, and that's a good thing. It's still easy to do royales with it because it's really low to the ground. And the Soulplate is really sunk in. That's a topic for later. So if you want to do those sideways tricks like edging or royale tricks, It doesn't mean that that's hard on it. It just means that you have extra support with that. Then let's talk about the forward flex. The forward flex is, I think it's just perfect for this skate. So, what's up? Oh, talking about the devil. Hey Jesse, how do you like your skates?
They're freaking awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
I like them a lot.
Perfect. Now let's talk about the liner. This is a new and improved liner. Just gonna take it out of the skate to show you. Boom. It kind of resembles a little bit the liner that's in the Twister models, but it's a little bit thicker. So the padding is pretty thick. It's really comfortable. If you put your feet on it, it's like as if your feet are in the cloud. That's how comfortable they are. It's gonna break in a lot, so the padding is gonna shrink a little bit. So if it feels really, really tight in the beginning, it's gonna feel really tight later. If it feels loose in the beginning, it's gonna feel super loose later. So be careful for that. If you firstly try on these skates, if you just got them, they're gonna break in a lot. This is a handle to hold it on. It's not a handle to pull on it if you're gonna put the skate on your foot, because these can break. Don't pull on it too hard. This is a nice little rubbery thing here that keeps the liner from going up. Also, I never heard anybody having problems with that in this skate. It has a nice neoprene toe box, so that's nice, so that your toes are not cramped in there like that. And it's nice that they have these extra laces. In my opinion, the extra laces have one hole too much, so it goes down all the way over here. And there's a lot going on in this skate, because the normal laces go up really high. Then you have this Velcro strap, and then also you have these laces that go down a lot. So at this area, also because the cuff is there and the buckle, there's so much stuff there, and it's, for me, I tried it on a couple of times to skate. It's really frustrating to put it on. So my advice is to take these laces out and then not lace it all the way to the bottom, because you really only need the top ones. But of course you can do with it whatever you want. So let's talk about the way this boot is set up. It's a flat bottom boot. So that means that there's no internal heel race like some like Roach's M12, Fifth Element, Dem 909, Racer Scald, use the sway type of skate have, but there's actually a shock absorber. And this shock absorber is the same shock absorber that was in the Solo and in the Fusions. They made it a little bit harder this time, so they changed the density, but you can just swap it with the other shock absorbers from the old editions as well. So if you get your hands on that, you can change actually the hardness of the shock absorber. And there's one thing changed, is they made like a little Velcro thing so that it stays in place. However, that was never an issue with this skate, because it has like these special shapes here that keeps it locked in anyway. So I don't know why they made all this effort to put the Velcro in, but I guess it's nice, right? Next topics are the cuff, the buckle, the ankle strap, the frame, and the wheels. All right, let's get to it. So next up is the cuff. Pretty nice, stiff cuff. The form is great. The buckle goes inside, and here you can see that if you push in the buckle too much, it's gonna be stuck between the liner and the cuff. So you might want to cut off the buckle if you want the skate to be really tight. But it's nice the way that it goes in, because it's really protected. And also the buckle receptor here is really protected well by this cuff. This is a nice little V-cut. So that's for the backwards flex. And of course you have these flaps. They offer support. So if you don't have these flaps, then the skate has a little bit more sideways flex. But these flaps are also super annoying. So normally my advice is, if you think that they're annoying, you can just cut them off a little bit to the size that you want it, to the point that there's no annoyance to it. If you want to take off this cuff, then there's this special tool in the box. Don't throw this away, because most people, I think, don't know what this tool is. Here's a little bit of padding over the internal cuff bolt. So you can use this tool and put it on the inside of the cuff bolt, and that's the way that you keep the inside of the cuff bolt from rotating if you open up the cuff bolt with an Allen key. So it's very useful if you ever want to replace the cuff. About replacing the cuff, one cool thing is that Rollerblade never changed their cuff sizing. So Rollerblade has been in the market for more than 40 years, and since forever they use the same cuff sizes. So ever since the old like DRS Lightning and Tarmac and Trooper days, where the skates were still made by Roaches, they still use the same cuff sizing. That means also that you can put any Roaches cuff on a rollerblade skate. Would it not be that the Roaches cuff have to have a Roaches skate here? And you see that it has this little downwards thing here at the back, and that means that it doesn't fit if you put a Roaches skate on a rollerblade, but it does fit the other way around, because a rollerblade skate would just have this nice line here if you put it on a Roaches skate. So yeah, next topic is the buckle. So I already showed you that it goes inside the skate nicely. It opens nice, it's made from metal. There's nothing much to it to say. I wouldn't advise you to replace it because it just works great. The ankle strap, however, is a little bit annoying in my opinion, because if you flex forward, then the cuff flaps here, they hit the ankle buckle. So you see that? So it sits a little bit in the way in your forward flex. It also is just something to cover up your laces, and it makes lacing extra annoying. And also, this is a really stiff skate, and this little Velcro thing, it doesn't, like, it also gives in a little bit, of course, so like it stretches a little bit. It just doesn't do enough to make up for how annoying it is. So my advice is definitely just to take it off. You can use an Allen key to unmount it. And also I think that the skate looks a lot better without it. If you want to have an ankle buckle, put a real buckle on it. Or even better, I have this special lacing technique that I'm gonna show you in another video, which will really like compensate for this lack of having an ankle buckle. So this is one topic for another video that you'll see in the future. Follow the channel if you want to get updates. So let's talk about the Soulplate. And the old Soulplate had a lot of criticism. People thought it was too bulky, too chunky. It was super wide, but it was also just aesthetically not so pleasing. And also then it also had like this big negative one. It already looks better if you don't put on the negative one and just have the regular sole. But this was never a popular Soulplate. Let's first show you how it looks if you take it off. See, it's pretty nice boot. Like that. This is the old solo skate with a wizard frame. And you can see that this boot just works really well with big wheel skates, because it also originally is a big wheel skate. So if you want to start flow skating, like this nice 5-wheel setup, cruise around with that, then this is a really good option. I think the CJ skates are stiff enough, the DEM 909s are stiff enough, and this is one of the only non-carbon boots that work really well with big wheels. Okay, so then look what I did with this old Solo Fusion skate. This was a big wheel skate first, and then I put the modern Soulplate on it. And just look how much of an improvement it is compared to this one here, which is kind of like the original version. See the difference in Soulplate? But the nice thing that they did with the Soulplate was to make it so that the frame is still attached directly to the boot. So normally a Soulplate goes underneath the boot, and then the frame sits on top of the Soulplate. And so that creates a few extra millimeters of height. And as an aggressive skater, you want to stand as low to the ground as possible, of course. And this makes it so that that is the case. So this is a really smart move. And then the part in the front here, that's just aesthetics. To make this Soulplate go really round like that, it wasn't necessary. They could have like cut it off exactly like the old one, but they didn't. They made it continue, and I like that. Good job, Tom Heiser. The width of the Soulplate, of the modern one, is I think perfect. It's like it's pretty wide, so but not too wide, and the position of the backslide groove is also just perfect. So there's nothing bad to say about this Soulplate. I think actually this is one of the best Soulplates ever made. Also the material slides super fast, and it looks great, and it functions way better than any other Soulplate on the market because the frame is directly mounted to the boot. Having a sunk-in Soulplate like that makes it that the frame can be a lot taller. So next topic is of course the frame. The Rollerblade frame is pretty high, so you can put I think 64 millimeters in there. Not sure, so check out the description of the skate on our website because it's going to be listed there as well. If you want to buy these skates, of course, you can do so on thisissoul.com or come to our store here in Amsterdam. Because you have those extra height kind of like sunken in the Soulplate, it also works really well with a wish frame. A wish frame is a pretty tall frame, and I think the wish frame is the best flat frame that's also really good for grinding. But the kind of like the downside of the wish frame is that it's really tall. So if you have a sunken-in Soulplate like that, then you have kind of like an ideal situation. Another skate that has that is the Racer Shift or the Racers SL. They also have a really sunken-in Soulplate because there also the frame is directly mounted to the boot. The stock frame that comes with it is really solid though. This is one of the most stiffest frame on the market, and that means that it also rides the fastest because some aggressive skate frames have a lot of flex to it, like a Federlite frame. They're actually really weak. So you can just, if you do this, you can just move the wheels around like 1 or 2 millimeters because some of those frames are really weak. But this one is really solid, so there's no speed loss in the frame. And they made so many editions of this frame, that's crazy. This frame has been around for many years. So here you see an old version of the frame. It's exactly the same frame, but then it has a different groove. And they made, yeah, I don't even know, like 5 different versions of it or something with all different grooves. Here you see it's exactly the same frame, same axles. These axles have been around since 2001 with the Rollerblade TRS. They're great axles and you only need one Allen key to unscrew it. So that's also comes with the plus. But if you tighten it, it kind of like clicks a little bit. So these axles don't unscrew by themselves. And this is an issue with almost all aggressive skates that you're skating and that your wheels suddenly start to clack, make some sound, and you need to tighten your axles. And these Rollerblade frames are really solid. They don't have this issue of unscrewing axles because the way of these ribs on the inside of the bolt. The new edition of this frame, which is coming out soon, is a little bit suited better for flat skating, kind of like a Fluid 5 or a Cultic flat frame or one of those. It has this wheel bite protection things for the middle wheels to protect the groove. Then last topic is the wheels on these skates. So far, all the Blank skate have come out with the Rollerblade hydrogen wheels. And the Rollerblade hydrogen wheels are made in the USA in one of the best factories for wheels in the world. And they are also one of the best wheels in the world. These are the wheels that you wanna have. Usually skates come with shit wheels, and then we say to customers, okay, maybe you can just keep these shit wheels and buy new Rollerblade hydrogen wheels in like 2 months when you destroy the stock wheels. But for these skates, that's not the case. This is not to say that in future editions, probably they'll make like a cheaper version of the skate, and then maybe in the end it will come with cheaper wheels. I don't know that, but for now, they're doing a good job on that. Also, the bearings, nothing to say about the bearings. They're just fine bearings. Don't worry too much about that. All right, these are all the topics of all the sections of the skate. Only thing we didn't discuss is the laces, but that will come up when we're talking about ways to upgrade the skate. The laces are fine as they are, but of course wax laces are always the thing that you want. And there's this special lacing technique that I'm gonna show you on Instagram. If you follow us on Instagram, check it out there, at Thisissoul, of course. So there's a couple of things that you can improve on this skate. The liner, of course, you can upgrade to an intuition liner. The intuition liner is really stiff. So this one has a lot of padding and it's a little bit swampy, like it absorbs your energy also. So this softness is nice, but also it comes with a cost. And the intuition liner is a lot more stiff, so that means you have a lot more control. The insole is one thing we didn't talk about, and this is actually one of the best stock insoles that I've ever felt. Usually what you don't want is that an insole is really soft like this in the back. So in the front it can be flimsy like this, but in the back it should be a little bit stiff to keep your heel in place and to keep your foot in the perfect position. So there's no real rush to upgrade the insole, but it's not as good as the Superfeet insole. The Superfeet insole is made out of all plastic in the back. So if you want to upgrade the insole, that's possible. Just put a Superfeet insole in there. If you want to change the colors, you can just swap the cuff. For example, this nice green cuff can fit on all modern blank skates, but also the Rollerblade twister cuff. So this is an old solo skate and it came with those Velcro straps that I talked about earlier, and I don't like that, so I put on a Rollerblade twister cuff and you see that it fits here. All right. So that's one thing you can just put on any different cuff from Rollerblade that you want, and there's also colors available. Right now I think we have green and pink and yeah, there's options, so that's good to know. My advice is, of course, again, to take off the ankle buckle, and if you want to improve the frame on it, you can put on either like a big wheel frame, that's really possible, or for aggressive skating, my advice would be to put on a wish frame. So these are all the things that you can improve. These are all the different segments of the parts and my judgment about it and what's good and what's bad about it and how to compare it to other skates. I've told you about the history of this skate, the history of Rollerblade. If there's anything else that you want to know, drop it in the comments of this video, because then maybe I can answer it, and maybe we can learn from each other in the comments as well. We make a new video every week. Sometimes they're reviews, sometimes they're skate lessons, sometimes they're industry insights. They're always very helpful to learn more about inline skating in general. So, hope to see you in the next video, and subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Bye bye.